Hey everybody, my name is Charlie, and this is early access look at Arms Trade Tycoon tanks. It's a relatively new game. I've been trying to show you guys a variety of stuff here every once in a while with some one-off videos to kind of give you a feel for what's out there right now. And thank you to Fun Guy for sending me out a copy of this game to try out. It does have a little bit of a learning curve to it. The interface is, I think it could use a little work, but this is it's an early look. There's a lot of development left to go here, including taking you into an entirely new era of war. So let's hit a new game. Now, what is the game, really, right? Well, Great Britain is the company that we're kind of going to be working with the most often here, and I'm just going to choose Entrepreneur as our difficulty. It's the normal one, and I'll go ahead and start. In this game, you play as a private organization that is in charge of building, designing, engineering, reverse engineering in some cases, tanks, and selling them to nations that need them for their war efforts. It takes place in the World War I era, right? It is currently starting anyway, just before World War I. It is July 1st, 1914. So I believe if my history is correct, it's like a little less than 4 weeks before the start of World War I. Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to put it down. I'm just going to put Charlie as the name for now. It doesn't really matter. Company name is going to be Char Tanks LLC. I don't know. Char Tanks is all that came into my head just now. Okay, so the first thing we're going to see is world news. And a lot of these world news things are going to pop up for us to kind of give us an information on what's going on in the world. Some of these things we can act on. For example, maybe some people think there's a higher need for a certain type of weapon. We might be able to go ahead and maybe prioritize our research efforts to getting that type of weapon, making our tanks more appealing. It is a fictional rendering of history, of course, so there is some replayability in that things will work out in different ways every time you play. All right, so here's the interface, and you start paused every time, which is great because every single time something comes up and pops up, the game will automatically pause for you. Let's go down, I think, probably more important buildings first, because there's a lot to this game, and I want to cover it as thoroughly as possible, but I don't want to do it really slow. Like, there's a lot of stuff there, so I'm trying to figure out what's most important. Let's talk about what we do first. We're going to go into the design bureau. Okay, now to do that, you can click the building, and that's going to give you a look at the building itself. You can add facilities around this building to help engage more productivity, more efficiency, giving you bonuses to certain types of designs, etc. And those facilities are located over here. We can do the same thing for every single one of these buildings, and there's something I would like to do here, and that's the sub-assembly line. If we add the sub-assembly line to the production center, it's going to improve the production process by breaking an entire manufacturing cycle into smaller separate phases for individual components. It costs $60,000 to do this. It'll take 60 days to complete, and the maintenance for this is $5,000 per cycle, which I believe is per month, but I don't know that. So we're going to hit build on that, and then that will start. We can do more if we want to, but I think that's probably good for now. We can also go into the engineering bureau, for example, and if I wanted to, I could say, I'm thinking maybe breakthroughs could be kind of cool. Auxiliary bureau committed to discovering out of the ordinary answers to commonplace engineering challenges. Cool. We'll just go ahead and see about that being in there. And then there was one more I wanted to go and do. Administration building here. This is where we would manage all of our people and everything like that. And I think I'm going to go ahead and get a construction department just to help speed up building other facilities in the future. So you can choose what you want to go and accomplish. Probably a fire station would be a good thing to build too, in case there are fires in your buildings. So how do we engage with these buildings, right? You have buildings, but what do you do in them, right? So at the top, we got a lot of numbers up here too. There's resources that we have, and there's a variety of different ones. We have iron, we have medium carbon steel, rubber, high carbon steel, glass, lots of different types of things, rare metals, ceramics, etc. And then we have a total budget here, and you can see a breakdown of that budget. Every once in a while, it will also pop up on the screen to tell you what it predicts your budget will be at the next month. Okay, so these buttons are how we actually interact with the world. So let's go into the design building first. So we're left with a whole lot of nothing at the start. If we want to create a design, we can hit go here, and this is going to give us the start of our tank. Okay, this is the Mark 1. We can change it to whatever we want. I'm going to call it the Char Mark 1 because why not? So we're going to go in and I'm going to call it the Char Mark 1. There we go. That's going to be the Char Mark 1 body. Okay, now we can add new things to this, of course, too, because just having this body doesn't really do anything unless I'm trying to make like a trailer home or something. This is probably pretty useless. So we can also add the Daimler Knight 6-cylinder engine to this thing. Now it can at least have some kind of power, but how is it going to move? Well, we can get ourselves the Centipede, and now it's starting to look a little bit more like a World War I era tank, isn't it? Yeah, if you're familiar with how tanks roll. Yep, this is about what they look like, man. Then we can add a couple of other things too. So we can choose to use a male sponson on the side. This is going to give us a nice little mount for a gun, or we can choose to just an armor plate. Makes it a little bit more robust, makes it a little bit tougher to take down, right? I'm going to choose this thing here. We can do the same thing on the other side too. And then for the weapons, we're just going to add the standard weapons that are coming with. At the beginning, we don't have a whole lot of options on how to build these tanks. We can either cover that with armor, or we can add this Lewis Mark 1 gun right here. And so this is going to ultimately be what our tank looks like in the design process for this. And we're going to have a whole bunch of statistics on the right side of the screen that tells us everything about how this tank would ultimately work. Now, at the moment, there are no crew in here, so we do need to designate crew for this thing for proper testing and engineering, trying to find the different weaknesses that it might have. But also, just anyone who buys these tanks is going to have this type of crew in there as well. So every tank needs a commander, and you'll see these icons on all these little squares here. That kind of gives you a hint as to what type of unit can be in this spot. You do not have to occupy all of these. In fact, if you can get away with occupying less of them, it makes your tank more attractive. You can now have the same tank, but less crew. That's pretty attractive for a military. So in this case, though, we need a commander in this spot, and then we also need a driver in this spot. So we're going to have a commander there, and then on this spot, we're going to pick the driver, and then we can have a variety of different crew through here depending on what our tank needs. So over here on the right, we can see that we're getting 4 out of 5 points for commander. Every unit is worth 4 points, so I guess that's just how it's going to be. The driver is 4 out of 4, and then we need up to 10 points for gunner, up to 8 points for a loader, and up to 10 points for mechanic. So basically 2, 2, and 2. We could get away with more, but there's no real need to do that. So we're going to choose a gunner here. We're going to choose a gunner here. We're going to choose a loader here, a loader here, and then a mechanic here, and a mechanic here. And that gets us close enough. You can go over this if you want to, but it's generally close enough. Okay, so on crew performance, there's going to be some attribute defects that go with this. And in order to know exactly what they are and how to fix them, we need to go through a design evaluation process. You can't just look at it and just be like, that's what's wrong and this is how you fix it. People have to look at this, get a feel for how it works, and go, okay, this is why we don't like this, and then brainstorm ideas on how we can go about fixing that. It's part of the design process. For now, though, this design seems pretty good. We can go into expendables, and we obviously need some ammunition. So I'll make sure we also add some ammunition in the storage compartments for that, as well as some fuel for the two. You're going to need some fuel there. We can also add some standard ammunition for the other gun. And so that is going to be what we pack with our tank. You can't pack duplicates of this. So you're basically just having one slot of each type kind of popped in there. And then finally, we can give it a paint job if we want to as well. And I'm going to make it this little green color here. That's pretty fine. Okay. So this is the Char Mark 1, and we can go ahead and hit assign, which is going to take our designers that we currently have, our engineers, I believe is what they currently have, and they're going to go through this process. It's going to take 35 days for them to work through that design process, okay? I'm going to quick go to the global map so you can kind of get a feel for what's going on the map. There's a lot of icons around here, okay? And this is World War I era, but not everything is going to be historically accurate. So things are going to move around and stuff as you play, and different times you play will be there. The game doesn't have a whole lot of content yet, so this isn't really ready for a full playthrough or anything, but I am showing you this now because it's early in its development cycle, and there's a posted roadmap. You can see the link in the description. And if he really accomplishes all those things on that roadmap, I think it's going to be a pretty cool game. But you can click any one of these nations, get a feel for what kind of government they have, their political strength, the different types of things regarding their budget preferences and military preferences. You can look at things like their current external politics. Are they currently at war with somebody? Do they have non-aggression pacts, alliances, etc.? You can see their different economy. What kinds of tanks do they have? And that might give you a clue as to the kinds of things that they like. And then all sorts of other information on each one of these nations will give you this type of rundown on the stuff that they've got going on the map. Okay. All right. We're going to go to the factory ground like this, and I'm going to let things go. Although I thought there was one more. I think I want a riveting hall here too. Yeah. Production halls, highly specialized facilities dedicated to riveting assembly. You're going to use a lot of rivets and stuff. So this is going to make much faster. It's going to make it much faster for us to build that kind of stuff. And you can build these things, I believe, simultaneously. So yeah. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up time really quick and unpause. And as soon as we do, the tutorial will begin. I'm going to go ahead and not have the tutorial pop up for us because I'm pretty much going to explain everything that it's going to explain anyway. So the first bit of world news says, following the early successes of tanks in the battlefield, the High Command is ready to form additional tank regiments for an ongoing war effort. Make sure to invest in your manufacturing capabilities to keep up with rising demand, which is what I'm doing right here. I'm just getting my manufacturing capabilities to be, well, more capable. All right. So the Holt Manufacturing Company also says, as the war begins, nations struggle to send supplies to the front and machine gun nests become a significant problem. To resolve the issue, Britain has already entered into a talk to apply a potential of Caterpillar tracks to the battlefield. First Lord of the Admiralty, Sir Winston Churchill, is negotiating with the Committee for Imperial Defense to form a landship committee to break a soon-to-develop stalemate. Can these radical ideas truly change the current nature of warfare? All right, so anyway, you get it. There's like lots of like little things happening around the world. And then we also have things like this can pop up. So William Tritton is available for hire. My company's reputation is apparently increasing. Not sure how that happened already. As a result, a top new executive has offered their services and is now available for hire in the administration building. So what we can do is we can go to the administration building, which is down here. This is where we hire new people, as well as can juggle staff and get new administrators to place in certain buildings. So we have William Tritton right here. He can give us a 30% reduction in man-hour cost for tank production. He can also give us workplace ergonomics improvements, which increase the number of employees per line, which is pretty nice. Delivery time focus, a reduction in tank delivery times can be helped by this guy. Lots of stuff could be good here. He's optimal in production buildings as well as in warehouses and storages. So depending on where I put him, he will be able to aid us here. So optimally, if I put him in production, we'll most likely get these two bonuses. And then his other bonuses probably come from supply time focus and delivery times. That's probably something that works with warehouse. I don't know if we get all of these things like all the time. I think it's one or the other. Anyway, so I can click him and I can hit hire. And he will arrive at my base in 5 days. In addition, I can also hire more workers to manufacture things or more engineers to design things a little bit faster too. All right, so we'll go back to the main screen here. Now, one thing I haven't been doing, and I've kind of missed a whole month worth of doing it already because I've just been talking and totally forgot, is research. And that's definitely not something you want to forget because research is the only way that you stay ahead of your competition. And you do have lots of competition when it comes to bidding for contracts. You will have competition depending on your difficulty setting. You will have either really strict competition and it might be difficult to get contracts over your competitors, or it might be a little easier depending. I don't know what normal is. When I was playtesting the game, I was on easy. That's how it goes. So we're gonna say through here, we can, increase things like mobility lab, and we can have a highly specialized facility that greatly enhances mobility research projects. So when we go through different research projects, you can get a bonus in the speeds of those research projects based on building any of these things. So what kind of research projects are there? Well, we can go into a variety of different tiers and stuff as we go, and then there'll be more tiers as we proceed through things. But these are kind of the things we already know, and then the things we can kind of go down. So if I was to go through, for example, RHA steel, we can get rolled homogeneous armor is made of a single steel composition, hot rolled to improve its material characteristics. Armor is designed for surface applications that require maximum protection for ballistic purposes. It shows us mass, kinetic resistance, shock resistance, etc., and we can choose to research that. Conversely, we could go down to the female Mark 1, and this would actually unlock not just this part, but also other parts that go with it. A lot of times these researches will unlock more than just one part. So for example, improved medium hull gives us access to a lot of stuff here. Okay, and it kind of moves us to the next stage of evolution in our tanks. Additionally, this is just structure. We can also research firepower stuff as well as mobility stuff to make our tanks even more mobile. Improved high pass running gear will also unlock a variety of different things that we can do there too, which might improve the mobility of our tanks. So we can focus on one advantage over others depending on what people want and depending on how our competitors are forming. If our competitors are really ahead of us in mobility, we might not be able to catch them, but we might be very good at protecting ourselves. So maybe our tanks have a lot more firepower than the competition. We'll be able to sell those over them and kind of choose our niche if competitively that makes sense for us. So for now, I think I'm just going to go down and try to get the medium hull. So we'll just go ahead and click this, and that gives us 30 days left on that. Okay. Back over to here. Now there is other thing I can do, and that is the warehouse. We've got, I don't want to go here. I want to go here. Not tank storage, resources storage. There we go. So we slide over here. This is the warehouse, and we don't actually have any designs that we can run with yet. But what we would normally be able to do is we can go through a variety of different suppliers over here, and then here are all the materials that we're going to need to build our tanks. And if we need more material, like say we're getting low on iron, which we almost inevitably will be, we can just put in an order for like up to 9,000 order of iron in Oceania, and get a whole bunch of it right now if we want to. There's different suppliers, and each of those suppliers have different prices for different items. So some things are cheaper in some places over others. So in this case, iron is only $2, I guess, 2 money per unit. To where everywhere else it seems to be pretty expensive, except for Africa, which has the same price. So we might want to, maybe I want rubber as well. Well, rubber's more expensive in Oceania, so maybe I do order from Africa because I can get both of them cheaper, right? So that kind of thing can happen. So we'll order this, I think, from Africa, and then they also have different delivery days as well. So Africa will be able to deliver to us with a maximum delay of 10 days. There's a reliability score here, basically. How reliable are they in getting it to you? So if they are less reliable, there's more chance for a longer delay as opposed to Oceania, which is more reliable. And so while their base is 29 days, they're at most going to be 5 days late. If I go to Africa, I'll have 17 days, at most be 10 days late. So it still makes sense to go Africa for my iron order, doesn't it? It kind of does. So I'll go ahead and order some iron while I'm waiting for my designs and stuff. Alternatively, once you have a design, you can choose the design and it will autofill the resources that you need for that tank specifically. And then you can just choose how many tanks you want to build, and it will fill in your order to the exact quantity of materials that you need for those tanks. But you can only order from one source at a time, so it might be a little bit more expensive. All right, so my design, the Char Mark 1, is complete. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the Proving Grounds. And the Proving Grounds is going to give me the ability to go through a trial range. The tank trials grant understanding of the design, the defects, and unlocks them for amendment. So if we push this thing through the Proving Ground, it will show us and demonstrate to us what its weaknesses are, and it will give us an idea of how we can go about fixing those things with additional investment. So we have some statistics about our tank. We know how much it weighs, its attribute sum, which is kind of like its score. You could say that a tank with a higher attribute sum is a stronger tank than one with a lower attribute sum, right? So it's sort of like your grade on that. And then also the number of crew that this tank will have. There are currently 9 known defects, including all of those that are listed there. And that reduces our score, which makes our tank less attractive. But we don't really know how to fix them yet. So we're going to go through and test it out. It's going to cost us a little bit of money and time, but we can go ahead and test that out. And in 14 days, we'll know a little bit more about how we can go about fixing that. Now, William Triton just arrived on base, and I'm going to go to the production hall. Now that I have that administrator and I know kind of what his advantages are, I'm going to go to the administrators here, and I can staff him to my production hall, which is going to, again, give me more man-hour reduction, which is great, as well as allow more workers per line. ultimately, those two things together are going to lead to me being able to build tanks faster. All right. So with that being done, we have the construction compartment done. The riveting hall is done. I love the little classic cars and stuff. They're freaking awesome. Yeah, here's our riveting hall. It says so right on the building. They look really nice. I like them. All right, cool. Let's proceed a little bit further in time here. And now we have a new tank has been revealed. Ooh, according to trustworthy sources, the William Foster Company has just completed a new design of the Vanguard tank, codename Hector Mark I. Expect fierce competition for the upcoming contracts. Yeah, so there's other players in there, and you have to beat their contracts. We'll look at those in a second. For now, Proving Grounds is done, and we can actually go in and test drive if we'd like to as well. So this is the Char Mark I, and we can go to the Hatfield Range here, and we can test drive our tank right now if we want to, or we could work at potentially fixing these defects that it has to see whether or not it's worthwhile doing so. So if I reload this back into the design center, now that we've gone through the Proving Grounds, we're going to be able to look at these and figure out how to correct those scores. So for crew safety, for example, I can go over here. There's a blocked evacuation path because of our, hitting our crew limit. Blocking evacuation routes significantly lowers the possibility of crew survival. And so we can add some different parts of the design on the internals to compensate for that and amending that. And that's going to cost us a little bit of resources. It also gives us what our penalty is here and what ultimately we'll have with an improvement. So right now we're being penalized by 0.5, whatever that is. I don't know. And also -5 on what I assume is survivability here. Crew performance, that's what this is. What's this one? Does it have a logo for that? I don't know what that logo is. I'm looking for it. I don't see it. But this one right here is crew performance. So we're having a 5-point penalty for crew performance. After we improve this, we're no longer penalized for whatever this is. And we're only getting penalized a -3 for the improvement. So still a penalty, but it's better, and we've amended that defect. Crew aiming right here, same thing. We can go ahead and do that, and crew awareness right there. We can go ahead and amend these. We don't have to do this. We can leave it the way it is, but in the beginning, it's pretty cheap to just kind of fix these different designs, and so I'm just going to go through each one of these. Road speed, extreme vibration dampening effectively lowers the highest speed possible, so we want to amend that. We have loose tracks, hitting the volume limit. The maximum off-road speed is effectively reduced by loose tracks. Amend the defect to reduce the penalty, so we can go ahead and do that. And then we also have obstacle slope angles being a problem, so we can make maybe some minor angle adjustments on how certain things kind of fit together to fix that. And there's a lot of stuff that you can do. There's a lot of elements that could have defects. The guns could have defects. How the guns aim could have defects. Mobility, crew performance, etc. All those things. But this is done now. We've kind of invested in what it's going to take to make this tank, ready for battle. So of course, there's one other element to this game that's really exciting, and that is the ability to actually drive your own tanks. Yeah, you got to drive them. So you can go to test drive, and we can go to the Hatfield Range, and we can start a test drive for this tank. Now we are going to be on a timer, so I'm going to try to do this while I talk, but you actually get full control of the whole design of your tank. Oh yeah, baby, let's go. And so we can get a feel for what it's like. We have all the stats and stuff on the bottom left-hand corner. We've got guns in the center that we can switch between. Let's go over top this trench right here. Yeah, there we go. And our tank will perform better through these trenches after we have improvements. So if we had done this before improving this, it might have been a little more challenging to get through here. Since we've fixed some of our mobility defects, this tank's going to run a lot better. At the top right, you can see what our current timer is. That's how much time we have left to run this stat, to run the trenches, if you will. And we have how many points we have, and we are needing to get to 300 points to prove this tank. All right, so the first challenge is to shoot those things from a bridge. I'm going to switch to the right side gun. We're going to come on over here, over top of this bridge. There we go. A big thing, and we can stop over here. Now, it takes a while for that gun to rotate, but we can get over there. Bang. Let's go ahead and just move a little bit here. Wait for that reload. Bang. And wait for that reload. Adjust it like this. Ooh. Oh, I missed. It's all right. We're going to hit it this time. Takes a little while to reload, and as you get better tank technology, stuff like that will improve. But that's where you have loaders. So you have gunners, you have loaders, right? You have crew inside there who are responsible for aiming the guns, and then there are people who are responsible for just reloading them and getting ready for the next shot. All right, so 8 people inside this thing, man. It's crazy. So yeah, tests of all sorts of different things, including how mobile it is, how agile it is, and also, of course, you have to be able to pilot it, which I am not necessarily the best with keyboard piloting, but hey, I'm doing my best. I think we're all right here. There we go. We need to get right up in here, and then we can fire on this tank. There we go. Just have to hit it and move on. Move on to the next one over here. This is going to test our front gun, so we're going to swap to the front gun here, and we're going to get ourselves pointed towards our targets. Oh, come on. You can do it. Come on. There we go. All right, pointed towards our targets here, and we just want to blast them, basically. There we go. And then the next one way over there. See if we can hit that guy. Can we hit that guy? Come on. Come on, get over there. Yeah, we got him. All right. Let's back up and get back on the trail. All right, there. Here we go. And as you move through the different eras... Oh, I think I need to go this way. Yeah. As you move through different eras and, different designs for tanks and stuff, you can test drive all of those. And eventually you're going to have a lot of flexibility, a lot of freedom to design tanks how you want to design them. Try new designs, be innovative, right? Mix and match certain things. But in the current version of the game, you are kind of limited in what your options are and sort of how this works. And I'm not playing long enough to really get myself more flexibility. But I am eager to kind of wait this out and follow the development, if you will, of this game to kind of see how it progresses over time. Okay, I hit like a random stone or something here. There's a bit of a lip there in the ramp. Come on now, get up there. There we go. Get right up in there. Yep. And this tank is fairly lightweight. Later on, we can get an armor upgrade, which makes it a lot more survivable, but also much heavier. And then it's much more difficult to get up that hill. Now, in this case, the targets are low, so it might be actually harder for our gun to reach down and hit them. So it's always about where that circle is, not where your crosshair is. So it's all about that circle. You need the circle to be down on the targets. There we go. And I got him. All right. So back over here. There we go. So if my tank was a little bit taller, a little bit higher up, I might have had a problem there. Might have had to go down the hill or something, or add some sort of, gimbaling on the other axis to allow it to shoot down, on the gun. Let's go over top of this trench. I love how it's like there's trenches, people are moving around, but like the tanks can just go right over top of them. I feel like that had to be terrifying to see these gigantic machines coming right at you with all these big guns. It had to be terrifying. Now we know what they are. I bet they're still pretty terrifying to look at if you're on foot or whatever. But yeah. All right, so we're currently at 270 points. We're gonna get a little more points by going to this part here. We're at 285, and now we just need to basically finish this off, and we can do so with a shot right here. And pop. There we go. 295. One more. Just get the checkpoint here, and we're good. There we go. So first tank trials at Hatfield is completed. We got a score of 310, and we're going to get plus 20 to our development phase and also plus 5 to our repair phase. Success in attack will greatly depend on methodical and punctual deployment. So we're going to get some assembly points for that, and it might help us, again, just like improving our production process for it. So I think we're pretty much ready to go here. I'm pretty happy with our tank as is. So I'm going to let the sub-assembly line complete so that we have that available for us. And now that that's available, we can go in and we can put this tank on the assembly line to start producing it. So this is the Char Mark 1. We got that right there. And I happen to know ahead of time that the first contract is going to want 20 tanks just from playing it before. So I currently can put in an order for 20 tanks to be produced from here. And I could even go as far as to make 40 of them, because I know that the next contract will also want that many. And I happen to have enough resources now because I ordered them ahead of time to go ahead and make 40 tanks. So if I want to order 40 of these to be produced, that's what I can do. I'll go ahead and hit assign. And we have 40 tanks in production. It will take 95 days. Now, this assign button basically says all the workers that I have, assign them to this tank. And currently, I only have 240 workers. So it'll take 95 days to produce these 40 tanks. However, I can go over to the administration building. I can add more workers to my workforce, yeah? So if I want more, let's say we're at 240 right now, I can go up to what, 350? So I could maybe just get 50 more workers. I guess I'll just hire 50 more. If I do that, then I can come back over to the production building here. And now I can assign new workers to this. And as I assign more people to work on it, you can see that the days tick down here. So I don't know exactly how many workers I have. I'm just going to go 400 here and it'll probably correct it. All right. So I'm at 290 as the maximum worker count. And that's going to now take 79 days instead of 90. I like it. Cool. Sounds good. All right. So we'll go back over here and we will run the clock a little bit further. And we will most likely get very soon our first contract offered to us. Holt and Hornsby. Tractors have been studied. The British Army is enacting a study of tractor design to direct future development. Of special interests to them are the Holt and Hornsby design, the former being powerful while the latter using sophisticated track and differential systems. This news may be frustrating to one Sir David Roberts, engineer of the Hornsby Company, that already showcased them to the military on numerous occasions, only to be rebuffed by Royal Artillery officers qualifying horses to be far superior in every condition. Oh, they thought horses were superior to tanks. That's funny. All right, here we go. We got research is done, and we want to make sure that we keep going with that. Now, I'm down to 802. $802,000 right now. A lot of this has to do with the fact that I've invested a lot of resources into double ordering here, but I don't have to do it later. I don't have to build it later, which means I can spend a lot of my time designing new tanks and upgrading existing models while I still have the old model in inventory. Let's go back to the research lines here. We can now go to medium hull if I'd like. This is for whippets, though. I'm not going to do whippets right now, but that's for the whippet. And then we can also go down, let's say, mobility, and let's get improved high pass running gear. Yeah, just a little upgrade to our existing warhorse. We'll go ahead and have that happen. And then we need to go also to the twin engine, and we need to start getting a better engine for this stuff too, because if we don't, we're going to find ourselves with a heavier tank and a much slower tank that is not able to move very well. Okay, we have a fire in our production hall. Shit. This is what happens when you try to play test the game before making a video on easy and then you decide to record in normal. Fire has broken out, and the burning is in the production hall, of course. So that's going to stop. Whatever that building is doing is going to stop it for a certain amount of time, and we're going to have to pay to repair it. So in this case, $27,000 to repair it. It's going to take 9 days. Casualties suffered. Ugh. So we're going to repair this. We're down for 9 days while we repair that damage. And let's go ahead and build a fire station. Try to get that to be a little bit we'll try to get ahead of that, like, not that I already am. All right, so let's continue this here, and now the production hall is done and it's back to work now. So we are now going to get our first contract. Here it is. Okay, I was like waiting for this to happen. So at the end of September, right after improved high pass running gear is done for research, the British Empire announces a contract for 20 tanks. Huh. Who could have saw it coming? The General Staff has issued a bid for a new tank and accompanying supply contract to equip its army with the Vanguard tank. They must meet strict requirements, and bidding companies are to offer around 20 to equip 1 battalion. Already, designers and engineers scramble to present their project and be awarded the contract. So to see what that's about, we go up to the contract manager here, and we can see that there are 1 available contract. So this is from the British, and we need to equip. Before I do this, let me see what we got going on here. So production hall has 28 tanks left to build. Remember, we did a double order on production here, so we really only need to build 8. So we're not worried about this timeline. It's just 8 more we have to build. 8 more should be pretty quick, so we should have that done in a few days. So the reason why I wanted to do that, and I didn't need to do a double order, and that's probably detrimental to my money, but well, whatever, is so that now I can manipulate the contract a little bit to my favor. So at the moment, we start with a 309 success score, okay? We can manipulate this by adjusting the price that we're going to charge per tank, which of course will take our success score way down. We can also reduce the timing. How much time do they have to wait before they receive this tank? That's a big deal. So let's say I promise that I can deliver this tank by the end of November, 11:30. Okay. Well, I have this 361 success score, which is pretty high. But now I can charge more for my tank. So let's say I want to stay above 250. So let's say I go 32,000 per tank. We'll make sure we can hit this. Let's say about like here. It doesn't matter. So 32.5 is what I'm looking for. We can type it into 32,500. 32,500. There it goes. Okay. That gives us a success score of 257. Now, if I'm really like, if I'm doing well with money and I really want this contract, what I also could do is I can view competitors' offers. To do this, I need do a little spy game, and that's going to cost me money. 81,000 money here is going to need to be spent, and then I can get a range of what my competitor's success score is going to be. Whoever has the higher success score in this contract is who's going to get it. So I want to kind of keep mine up a little bit. So 257 seems okay to me, but if I spend 81 grand, I can know for sure what they have. So let's just do that for the sake of this video. And we now can see that their success score is going to be 328 to 361. I would have lost this contract. Okay, so that's no good. That definitely is not something we want to have. So I need to push. I would need to go even further ahead in order to beat them. I need to deliver this even faster, which I still think I can probably do because I've been manufacturing them already. But just to help out, I think I'm going to have to reduce how much money that I go ahead and charge for this. So let's make sure it's green. It's 361. This guarantees that we're going to get the contract. But in order to really do this, I have to deliver the tanks by 11:20. It's a really tight deadline. So we're going to need to do that. It's going to be really tight. So I'm going to go ahead and say go on this. And we are now ready to rock. Now, normally, if I hadn't already started producing by this point, there'd be no way I could get the tanks done that fast. But since we're going to come through here... Oh, hang on. New tank revealed. According to trustworthy sources, the Metropolitan Carriage and Wagon has just completed a new design of the exploitation tank, codenamed Odysseus Mark I. Expect fierce competition for the upcoming contracts. Indeed. Okay, so we have how many left to do? 27. We have been accepted. We knew that was going to happen. But now we have to deliver, and we have, 50 days to deliver? That's a really tight deadline. So let's let this build a little bit, and we want to see having 20 tanks in storage here. So we gotta let it run until we have 20 tanks. We're also going to have Daimler Motoren Gesellschaft has just completed a new design of the rationalized tank, codename Fenrir Os A. Okay, so look, again, you have a lot of competitors to worry about. All right. Ooh. Colonel Estienne's appeal. Top secret. French Colonel Jean-Baptiste Eugene Estienne, I don't know how you say his last name, has today made an official statement to the officers of his regiments. Gentlemen, victory will belong to the first nation able to put a 75 millimeter gun onto an all-terrain vehicle. Colonel Estienne has already called for the rapid deployment and development of so-called gun-carrying caterpillars, and has also requested that France follow Britain's footsteps. So we might want to go down for research. We might want to go down firepower and see about getting, bigger guns potentially in here. We can go in and maybe get the light side machine gun started here. We can try that here and then just kind of move along as we go here. Various different research projects. Okay, we have 20 in storage right now. It is getting real close to our deadline. So I'm going to go to the warehouse. Nope, we're going to go through here. This is the warehouse for tank storage. So we now have 20 of these in stock, and we need to send them to our contract. They require 20 of them. We are going to deliver 20 of them. Now, we have some options here. These are all the different shipping companies, if you will, that we can choose. Some of them have a really good track record of getting things there on time, but they're going to charge us more for it. Others are a little loose with their schedule, and oftentimes they're a little bit late, but they don't cost as much. so we can save money on those. For example, Ryder & Co. here has a delivery speed of 8. So it's going to be there in 18 days. You can see this. So in 18 days, it'll be there. And that puts us, 8 days. I misread that. 8 days, they'll be able to deliver this. So by the 23rd, perfect. But they have a low reliability. So oftentimes they can be late by up to 10 days. But in this case, that's fine because that still gets it there by the 20th of November, right? Our deadline is the 21st. So that still works for us. This is the lowest priced shipping company. And I like using them, but only if I'm way ahead of schedule, right? Otherwise, you have to look at other people. Like, for example, here, delivery speed will be about the same, but they're more reliable, all right? Sometimes your delivery speed is 5 days away. So you can use the numbers on the delivery speed is lower is better, right? So these guys will deliver it in 10 days, medium reliability, and they charge this much per unit, etc. So you can look at those types of things. In this case, Ryder & Co. is the slowest deliverer and has least reliability, but costs way less per unit. Makes sense? Cool. I'm going to go ahead and click this because I know no matter what, even if they are late, they're still going to get it there on time, and we will satisfy that contract. All right, so let's let this run. Yep, another tank is another company with another tank design. Cool. We just completed our contract. We got paid for it. We're back over $1 million. Everything is good there. We actually ended up delivering it on time. They weren't late at all. Very cool. The time is out for one of your contracts, and that's good. So that's it. We now have the money for that. And that's the loop in the game. The game is generate your own income and try to manage your budget, sell tanks to nations that need them for their war effort. And if you wanted, you could play both sides if you want to. This is a video game after all. You're trying to make money, and that's it. So you could very well play both sides if you want to. You could even give them weaker tanks and try to win contracts with that. Good luck, because the other companies are trying to beat you, right? But if you wanted to, you could give them weaker tanks so that the war lasted longer. I don't know. You can make more money that way. There's a lot of things you can do in this. It's an early access right now. You can come, you can look in the description down below, find a link. Maybe it's your flair. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of content yet, so keep that in mind if you're going into it. There's not like, you can get a few hours of gameplay here, but you're not going to be playing this for hundreds of hours yet. That's on the roadmap, okay? So anyway, that's it. My name is Charlie, and this is Arms Trade Tycoon Tanks. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.